is going to continue to push the narrative for them.
Yep, and we get to see it all right here to get us started on the year. It's the first map of the Knights Arena Valorant Challengers League. It's FaZe, it's G2, and it's FaZe starting on the attack. We didn't mention, but G2 has defense starting every single map here in the series. So 3 defensive first halves. Should we make it all 3 maps? And, well, we're stacked up as 5, and Dicey gonna try and lurk away from the squad and maybe play on the top side. Oh, no, actually, we're going quick here. How much util is set up for this? Nothing to stop the push onto site. Baby Bay's made it, and the rest of the team in tow here with Supa and Rossi.
Immediately, the camera goes down, and the only one inside that Cypher has to play back, has to play for that retake. Is a 5v5, though, as a Spike is able to get planted. FaZe just immediately taking control.
And Smoke's down to try and deny for now. Maybe they out towards Arcade. A couple of kills back and forth thus far, but a good flash will stall this retake for just a moment as Rossi playing the flashes here on this one as the last one standing was poised, and unfortunately, FaZe just couldn't hang on to the site. Then G2 off to a great start.
And a quick 1-2 for that retake, especially when you're able to play with that Cypher. Again, just playing back and having those different styles that we get to see very, very early on from G2, right? Some of those Sentinel players that like to play around tower, they like playing inside of tower, trying to fight for that control. It doesn't happen, but look at the weapons that we're looking at.
No, not this again. Not this again. Please, not this again.
FaZe are not going to stop. They're just going to run it down again.
That extra plant money, even if they don't get the plant money, I think you're still expecting FaZe to have stingers. This is the return of a meta that I think a lot of us did not miss. As the flashes are out, the first stinger that went in the hands of Oxy will collect that first frag in the paint shells. We'll keep FaZe at bay for now and slow things down. I don't know how much more smeeking you can do without Baby Bay.
You lose all that speed as well. There's a Neon that could help you out. With a fast lane, not really a chance anymore, so you have a 4v5. And again, I mean, those weapons are just going to make everything more difficult. You want to play them a little bit more up close. But G2 having control of the entirety of this map. Now the Cypher playing in tower, like I was mentioning before.
Yeah, 2 smokes available, so enough to get onto this B side, or at the very least, cut off any avenues here. Would be gonna toss up the first incendiary. Cages go up, and Dicey gonna be able to walk on here for free. Nope, not for free. Gonna get tagged by the trap wire. 3 players just behind him as well, and it's a discombobulated push onto the site, but they've got it for now. As an aftershock looks to stop the plant. Supa will get that one down safely. But G2 again in the driver's seat here in the retake. No, Rossi going to turn the odds for just a second. We go back and forth, and Supa finds one with the incendiary. The long-range stinger from Penny. Can't quite collect the second. And somehow FaZe have managed to reel this one back into a 2v2. A player in Arcade, a player in Tower. Shazam going to go push aggressively, but that Bulldog, it's all bark, no bite, and FaZe have done it. They win the force.
There was this really cool stat that I saw on Twitter, right, with the chances that you have of winning the entire match after you win that round with the stingers, and it goes up to more than 60%. It's insane, the capability of this gun and that confidence in the force, right, which is something that teams were usually hesitant about, but we're seeing it more and more. I believe we saw the Nation actually doing it a bunch in the last chance qualifier. Now we get to see it giving the results for FaZe Clan, and now they have an orbital strike because of that.
Yeah, orbital strike, I feel like one of the most potent ults to have on this map, just in general. It feels so good in taking either site. Obviously, the post plant, incredible with that one. So Supa can have some big shoes to fill. Maybe not in this round. I say not in this round, but with Penny and Oxy having stingers, I don't know. You can't count anybody out. Unfortunately, you can't count anybody out.
Absolutely. The one thing that you mentioned, right, about having that orbital strike is that for this matchup specifically, you're not seeing a killjoy, right? So you don't necessarily have to save that for that lockdown, but more for that specific post-plant scenario that FaZe want to put themselves in. And it's going to be potentially around this B-side once again.
Yeah, that's a great point. You get to hold on to that ult. You don't have to go ult for ult here, and this is The site hit now happening. Baby Bay to find the first. It's a complete crunch here on the B side. And, well, there's an orbital strike. Unfortunately, a bit of friendly fire. Baby Bay has to get out of dodge as the classics and stingers go good for a couple. But, okay, never mind. Penny. Stinger in his hand. Finds a couple of kills. Flashes out. Spike is down. Now spotted Superman once more. It's a Stinger. It's a Bulldog. It's the 3-round burst from both sides. But Penny on the lesser end of the duel for now. Or is he going to try and take it? Unfortunately, on the swing, Supa just a bit better. The weaponry a bit better. And the round will go the way of FaZe.
And these rounds so far are so close between the two teams. Once that spike attempts to be planted, once FaZe thinks they have that map control, that B control, it's just that immediate reaction from G2. Is that immediate reaction that we expect, right, from an IIGL like Shazam, proving from the beginning of this matchup what this team can do now under that leadership. And looking at G2, finally having those rifles. FaZe also having those rifles to work with, looking so much better that you gotta benefit G2 for this one. One orb as well for Penny to get that null command.
He's not alone. Oxy gonna try and help him out. See if they can get this orb online. Penny will get spotted. Oxy, however, did not, and that Trailblazer was just enough to back them away from that prized possession. As they'll look to head elsewhere. FaZe once more set their eyes on this B side, and hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Baby Bay gonna lead the charge here. Smokes are down, concussions are out, and the site is, well, conceded.
I mean, the Neon as well, when you have that fast lane, it just makes that B entry so much quicker. We saw it from Optic a bunch of times last year, and we get to see it for FaZe once again, though. It's slowed down.
That hurts. Just getting spammed through the smoke. Rossi falls. That's one set of flashes down. Baby Bay down a tough spot. He's, well, actually in the worst spot on the map here. So much utility to be dumped out that way as the Neon continues to try and jiggle and bail himself out. Dapper will net his third on the round and poise once more, just like in the pistol, the last one standing. This one, however, a whole lot less doable. An Investor Flawless comes through, and G2 have tied us up.
Benefiting the side just a little bit more. The patience too, playing so well for G2 to capitalize from it. Again, they only needed one orb, one kill to get Penny that null command. And it just shuts down the push that FaZe wanted to bring. It was Baby Bay all alone. They ended up playing at high-low, but it just makes things even for now. I want to see the variation, right, for FaZe when they start to change things up. This is a main thing for them last year. When they're playing their game, they look great, they look aggressive, they look comfortable. But when the enemy team starts to get a read, it gets so much more difficult. And this is not what you want to happen from them so early on.
Yeah, another reset, slowing that momentum that you talked about. But again, Stingers Stingers are the reason the game is 2-2 right now, and we're almost the reason FaZe were able to claw themselves, or G2, excuse me, were able to claw themselves back in. Penny in that 1v1 with Supa, unfortunately, just shy of winning that. Once more, we are back towards the B side. 3 players strong out towards A for G2, not giving up anything. And I think a pick that we didn't really mention, or at the very least I didn't, is Poised on the Sky, right? We saw very early the flash through the door with that guiding light, and that sound cue, you don't know what else is behind it, right? There's not a whole lot of utility that opens that up and also can flash the players on the other side like that guiding light can. So we'll see if an A play comes back to fruition as Baby Bay gonna walk right on into that one. He basically just sacrifices himself to try and sell the fake, but Penny hasn't moved. Neither is Oxy. They're ready for this.
And it's a difficult one here with the players across the map to already go down for FaZe. And it was an eco. They didn't have too much. With Poison, Rossi, the last one remaining. And yeah, that's one thing that I noticed as well, right? For Poise, being on the Sky, just trying to give a little bit more support for Baby Bay as he goes in. It seems like it is working out for a good amount of entries, but it gets so much more difficult when you know he's gonna be that Cypher, Dapper on the other side. And even for this round, right? The side of G2, they knew it was an eco from the other side. They put 3 of their players just so aware
10 seconds left.
Of any possibility, even of Baby Bay going for that ultimate and still trying to go for that aggressive style.
And the corpse spam there from Dapper, just trying to get that hat off and get the information for the rest of the team. As now we're essentially equal across the board. A couple of ults available for both of these teams. Dapper not actually getting that neural theft off. Means he'll still have it in this round. And Oxy, we'll see how aggressive the Raze wants to go now that the Showstopper is available. Maybe for retakes. 5 players stacked up once more. And FaZe haven't really... They haven't really flirted with the idea of playing the entirety of this map. They're happy to play all together, and, well, it's quick again once more. Unfortunately, those ultimates aren't going to clear out the site as nobody was home, and G2 now have a few to their name to try and retake.
And G2 just playing so far back because they know there's going to be the Rolling Thunder available. You don't want to be caught in that, so they're going to play back. Once again, that retake workout before they can do it again, but the Showstopper 2 gets 1.
Yep, that ult does get 1, but it's a 1-for-1 as Orbital Strike once more going to come through and slow down the retake here. A player still on site, however, and I don't know if Baby Bay's been noted just yet. Whippy crosses, Baby Bay now position known, but Whippy completely surrounded inside main. He's got a player standing basically on his head, and, well, that player on his head will sit him down. Whippy falls, Baby Bay collects another, and FaZe will tie this up to 3 once more.
Quick reposition from FaZe. Everybody going back to main and being able to trade that pick from that Showstopper. That would have been a difference maker so early on if the rest of the team was not all around ready to trade up and make sure they have the numbers towards the end. A good round though. It was the first time that we see that A site being hit by FaZe. And you gotta wonder how many times it's gonna happen, right? It felt like that one conditioning was having that Rolling Thunder to play more aggressive, but now you don't have that anymore.
Was that the second Orbital Strike from Supa that we've seen?
Yeah.
Well, alright. 6 rounds in, 2 Orbital Strikes. Okay,
You know how it
Supa.
is.
Yeah, Supa's eating good in terms of the boba that floats around the map and the tapioca balls there. This is something that I wanted to mention too, right? We saw Baby Bay early run into the trap wires. Because you don't have the Raze, you don't have the Boombot to get rid of some of that type of utility, but the Trailblazer does that same job. So finds the first one, has not found the second one. However, Dapper in a lot of trouble. Tosses down the cage, pulls out the shorty, but stunned up, couldn't get a whole lot done. Meanwhile, Dicey falls on the opposite side of the map. It's a 1-for-1 trade out towards A, and a player dead for G2 out towards B, which put FaZe in a pretty good spot. And look at that plant, just a bit safer than the Aftershock would allow. Rolling Thunder on the opposite side, though. Shazam wants to go quick. 2 players inside the tower, and the cross, it's just narrowly missed. And Oxy gonna try and run him down, but stunned up. Rossi says no. The cross from Arcade eventually is good and poised. Plays the birds for 2 of his own, and FaZe will reclaim a lead.
And it seems like, I mean, you see the Rolling Thunder coming up. He gets 2 of the players that are positioned in tower, but still, the reaction takes a little too long for everybody on this retake to get there in time and be able to get the trade, especially because there's 2 for FaZe together. So FaZe, they make it to 4 here, just from that. And the ultimates that become so crucial, right? For FaZe, it was perfect when we got to see it with a quick entry. But G2 may be struggling a little bit more.
Oh,
Jump.
I don't know if he spotted something that made him give up on that, or if he just whipped the jump. However, or either way, it's still tough for Oxy.
Okay,
That's tough as well.
Wow.
Dapper kind of getting his just desserts. We get another orbital strike. This one coming from Whippy, but it wasn't enough to stop the plant. So Spike's still down. FaZe still a player ahead, although the health isn't great on a few of them. And Baby Bay being one of them, he's still fragging out. 6 HP in a dream is the last one standing is Whippy. As the Incendiary has 2 smokes to play with, but a 1v4, the economy, it's not great. I would imagine wants to try and look to save, but Baby Bay on the hunt here. The rest of FaZe just behind him. A fault line at his feet. And Whippy, oh, unfortunately, there's just too much. FaZe doing everything they could, not only to win that round, but to reset that G2 economy.
I mean, you get sprayed through the smoke with the Vandal.
Yeah.
It's a 5v4 at that point. Your Cypher goes down. And I think for G2, and this is something that we talked about early on, right? We don't see a lot of Neon anymore, especially in Fracture. It's just once in a while that we get to see it. It seems like G2 are just getting used to that playstyle once again. Because it's only 2-3 seconds that make the difference for when that orbital strike comes in to deny that plant. And it's happened in a couple scenarios, even for those retakes, even when we saw the Rolling Thunder, right? Getting used to, you know, you gotta be expecting FaZe to be right on that site pretty much immediately. So G2 is going to take a timeout from that.
And try and figure out how to slow this down. Poised, really starting to have standout rounds, right? As one of the last few alive, or even closing out these rounds. He was the player out towards main, trying to keep his teammates alive who were stunned up in tower. Rossi, the newest addition to the squad. Not necessarily top on the charts just yet, but we know that we have incredibly high hopes for this initiator. Yeah, going back to that Neon pick, at the very least, when you hear the site hit happening from a raise, you know what's happening, right? Blast pack, the raise is behind those, well, in front of those blast packs. There's a lot of opportunity for Baby Bay just to toss out the fast lane and not actually go, or choose when in the few seconds you do have for those blue walls to be up, choose when to go Sonic Speed and actually hit that site. So there's a lot of options for FaZe and delaying hits or faking hits, and it definitely helps that, again, Poised is doing their job. Have Seekers online again. So a second Seekers available here in 8 rounds for Poised. As this time, after the timeout, expecting something, our FaZe from G2, right? Imagine they have something cooked up. It's very similar to what we've seen previous.
Stingers. It's the Stingers.
Yeah, it's Stingers, and it's Seekers, and it's an A hit here for FaZe. We know these ones like to go quick. A couple players spotted, but no shots taken.
Again, it doesn't find anybody. G2 playing so far back, and FaZe is actually expecting that it only gets traded at the end. But again, spike planted, post one scenario, and a retake that has been so impossible for G2 so far.
Yeah, Oxy retrieves a weapon, but just can't do anything with it, unfortunately. Baby Bay on the off angle. Dapper does collect one, but he's the only player on the site. Incendiary queued up here. Super taken down low. One in response, however. And that's going to make things a little bit harder to stand inside A main as they'll wrap all the way around. The back is spotted. The head is shot. And now Dapper has to go clutch here. A Stinger, 86 HP, Baby Bay and Poised, and he wasn't ready for the player behind the box. So a 6th picked up for FaZe, but the lead has doubled for this team.
I think you mentioned it perfectly as well when it comes to what FaZe is expecting after that timeout, right? They're expecting something different. They're expecting something potentially more aggressive, because for G2 it has been all so laid back, trying to play that retake and sometimes not being able to catch up to the speed for FaZe. But FaZe actually take that dish, playing a 4-1 for the first time, and they make it work out. They're gonna go for something similar again, at least very early on.
Well, and looking at the start of these last 2 rounds, okay, hold on, I'm gonna hold this stock because Baby Bay just wants to run him down, fault line out to try and slow things down. Concuss in way of the relay bolt was just behind it, but when you look at the start of the last 2 rounds, nothing's changed for G2. So that timeout, it tells me, hey, we're giving up these sites. What are we doing these retakes, right? Because you have aggression out towards A to try and get those orbs. Now you have those same 3 players, right? Both your initiators and the Raze and Oxy playing just outside the door. And Dapper and Whippy, 1 generator, 1 canteen. This has kind of been the default defensive setup. But G2 need to try and find ways to deal with FaZe once they've got themselves situated on the site. As Poise queues up a guiding light. Oh, not like this.
Surely. Gonna be a 45. There he goes.
Yeah, but great timing though, right? They hit that rolling thunder, sure, but a beautifully timed fault line coming from Shazam slows down that push immensely. At the end of the day, it is still a 1-for-1. The zappy fingers are on here. We'll see if Baby Bay can find something as he storms his way onto the site. Meanwhile, Dicey across the map, and the spike is headed this way.
Dicey trying to find something here. Only depends a camera already spotted. The one player, as everybody else for FaZe, is able to make that rotation. The early aggression, though, in this 45 seconds was so good.
10 seconds left.
For G2 to be able to react in time, and Shazam gets 1 4v3. That's even once again.
Even once more as Dicey tosses out the hat. We'll get 2 pings of information. So for now, G2 have to stay put. I don't want to reveal where they're headed just yet. Fault line's out. Still a trapwire on the site, but it shouldn't get any value. Soup on the backstab just makes it so easy. The cross set up perfectly. And then swinging into 2 was Dapper. G2, sure, they took the timeout. Nothing changed at the start of the round. Nothing changes at the end of the round as FaZe win another.
And you think that one thing that slows FaZe down is that knife. the penny throws very early on, but that hasn't really affected them too much at all, right? Maybe for that hit that we saw in this round, and I think it's only been this round where that hit came a little bit later and forced that rotation from FaZe, but all the other time is G2 trying to take control early on, trying to force that utility. It doesn't work out until it turns out into another force. The Stingers.
There are no save rounds anymore. There's
It's a
only...
half buy, you know? I'll give them that.
yeah.
It didn't work out for them before.
No, FaZe is the only team that's actually really found success with that. Baby narrowly scoots onto the site, takes heaps of damage, but still a lot of spam, right? That's what these Stingers allow for, is just stray headshots, chip damage as you're crossing onto the site. It hasn't stopped FaZe from getting on and getting a spike planted, but it's going to cost a reinvestment in armor next round, I guess. Number 3, by the way.
No hard feelings.
By the way. Just giving count here. I mean, there's nothing you can do at this point, right? G2 just playing so far back. They had Stingers. They didn't have the best buy for this round, but also it just seems like they need one of those players to be in a more forward position, and that's why I expected Dapper to be that player, right? We saw it one time towards tower, but the rest of the times has been playing by the spawn, just like everybody else, maybe a little bit more reactive towards a push from Sands. And still that retake that doesn't work out. FaZe are so good at taking space, and they could make it to 9 here. 3 ultimates though. G2. A null command, and again, they're relying too much on this KO to stop the push, to stop the aggression. Can they do it? It's this time in the round that might matter the most for them this first half.
And a reminder that this is where G2 wanted to go to get us started here. Fracture was their pick. Oxy trying to slow things down. Rocket goes out. Unfortunately, not enough base. And everybody from FaZe stays alive. Just a bit of chip damage. Paint shells just behind it, but a lot of stall potential taken off the board at 25, 30 seconds into this round, Dryad.
I see is the only one here towards Dish. Everybody else towards the southern part of this map, and changing a little bit, actually expecting something new from G2 in this last round before the second half. That Spike though is on the floor. They're playing and trying to bait all the ultimates that we saw early on, right? For G2, they had 3. Now there's only 1 remaining.
A great start to the round.
Yeah, I mean, and you have an unusual theft. How much can you do with it after FaZe is able to position themselves so well, playing forward, pretty much denying the Cypher to get any value over and over again?
30 seconds left.
And that stings.
Yeah.
That could be the nail in the coffin on the round here. Penny falls. Now the sight hit out towards B, and I mean, just a spanner in the works. So much thrown into this round, making it crazy here for Whippy and Oxy. Well, now just Oxy to try and find the win. Spike still needs to be planted, however. 10 seconds left on the clock. I'm not too sure if Oxy knows this. Says he picks up a couple of kills for himself. Doesn't matter. Baby Bay in the back lines, 9-3 at the half, and G2 have to have something cooked up crazy here on the attack, Dryad.
Absolutely, and that's crazy. That's the only slow, like, default round, slow round that we saw from FaZe this entire first half. I mean, they never really needed it. They knew it was a round that was important to them. They knew G2 finally had advantage when it came to those ultimates, and they shot it down perfectly. There's so much strategy that comes through for FaZe to be able to find success in those 9 rounds. And it gets even more terrifying if you're able to get that pistol and those double digits.
Tech pause is somebody who's probably slammed their keyboard after that round. After that tap, or
it was me, actually.
Yeah, that's again really tough. A good start to that round for FaZe, although a lot of damage dealt. So when you look at that overall picture again of the 5v5 after the dust settles, the action inside A main.
Yeah.
I mean, no more paint shells, no more showstopper, no command was used. Boombot was gone. They got rid of so much util, and then had a minute and 15 seconds left to still play out that round. And again, paranoia is starting to set in. Dicey finding that early kill. Baby Bay was also on that late flank that eventually won the round and taking down Oxy. It's a FaZe clan doing a really good job. Yeah.
And the high peaks that we saw from FaZe last year, it was when they were able to play their own game, able to play this aggressive game that sometimes has a mix of a little bit of something else with that utility that they're able to incorporate, especially here when we talk about the sky and when we talk about the neon. But it looks so clean and G2 hasn't been able to react.
No, and well, the quick play
Spike down
doesn't
A.
stop there. They
That
wanted to go
works.
aggressive out towards Dish, and well, aggressive they go. Rossi here to pick up the
standing.
pieces, but
Spike down
Whippy
A.
immediately steals that
Good
kill
one.
back. So uneven odds here as Dicey gonna try his hand. Will find the first. 70 HP is not a whole lot here in a 1v2. Flashes out, and Whippy happy to collect the third on the round. We're back on track for orbital strikes, and G2 back on track to being back in this game.
I got scared for a second, but everything is under control for G2. That pistol round and that aggression, again, changing things up, and I love to see those creative ideas coming through for them. And to be able to capitalize from them towards Dish as well, something that we don't see very often when it comes to this round in specific. But, I mean, G2, they're going to keep playing in this way. FaZe actually going for a save. And I like this, right? When we see like 9-3, a lot of teams like to actually force into those stingers. They're gonna play calm. They know the advantage still pretty big for them.
Yeah, a bit of kind of false confidence when you're up that high to force the rounds down.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
eventually you're finding yourselves in pretty awkward positions. Doxley quickly going to take control of tower. Boombot goes out. He's going to follow right behind it. Meanwhile, everybody from FaZe working their way through the spawn. Babyface still trying to figure out which way he wants to go, so he's going to be headed to the top side of the map and flank through Arcade, while the rest of the team, it's Generator, it's Canteen. It's 4 players here for now, and Shazam. I mean, really, Shazam just around the corner from getting backstabbed. This tripwire, though, should give it away.
There.
It just has to wait for the right timing for there's a FaZe to try to hit this side, though. A good amount of players already low. There's not much that you can do. Give this round to G2.
Die, essentially, is what you have to do. Good damage onto one. That's just a stinger of Penny. Maybe they're going to go for that one, though. Try to take the fight with Shazam. As will eventually fall. Dicey gets one for his trouble. Poise also in that same boat as the rest of the team will go down. Decent damage dealt by FaZe, considering that they basically full saved into that round, but it went the way of G2, and now this lead is only 4.
They were playing far back, but we're already seeing something different, right? Even from Babyface, you mentioned it, that flank that came through. We didn't see that kind of push too many times from G2 when they were on the defensive side. So you get to see that the slight variation that might make a difference when now you have the rifles for FaZe. And you're actually changing that setup, right? So for G2 with the Cypher, they were always playing towards B and so far back. And now Dicey's able to put himself towards this A site, where you know G2 is going to try to contest early on.
I love the adaptation, right? Hey, if we don't have a raise that can get up there, let me see if I can hop up with the Neon. He's not going to go for a second chance. Azoxy going for his first on the site. Will find that kill onto Dicey. Rossi's able to get one back, but G2 right here in the face and fighting forward as they end themselves a player ahead in a Spike Planet.
And it all happened so quickly, right? There was that position, that information immediately gets denied. Dicey the first one down. Now you have 3 players from the side of G2 position. Or at least a little bit of crossfire coming through. Superman, instant a chance here is a good idea here. With the wall as well coming through.
A really good idea. Cut off the vision for the players inside main. Tap onto the spike though. Fragment will delay. Flash up and over the top. Nobody really home to fight as Penny falls. Now somebody's got to get on that spike. Looking away from the flashes, Baby Bay. And a transitory win streak for G2 finally comes to a close. As FaZe find double digits.
Babyface so good with a fast lane. Isolating those duels, making it so much better for the 2v2, and then making it even with the last kills that he was able to get. Double digits now for FaZe.
My thanks.
As they seem to be the team that has adapted the best so far. And a G2 that played that fast style, that aggressive style towards its A. They got that spike planted. They had the right idea, what we are often seeing of that crossfire from main. But again, you have to take the neon into account, and sometimes it is so difficult knowing that not many teams like to bring this.
And one more kind of added ingredient to the game when you have to worry about the fast lane that no longer damages you, but it does cut off sight lines. The relay bolt that bounces twice, and then obviously Baby Bay. You know, everybody's afraid of the pumped up kicks from Baby Bay as he's sliding in to try and take fights. Now with that round lost for G2, however, 2 rifles, 3 stingers, still a
Look
little
at the
bit
read
one.
from FaZe.
Powerless.
And it's good for now. Everybody here for the defense, just about 4 players on this side of the map. And look at the kill feed. Whippy goes huge. Resurrection available for the robot. And Shazam gonna hop onto it for just a second. Has to hop off, but it'll eventually fall. And Dapper can't quite reel in the spray from this stinger, so he swaps weapons. A Vandal now in hand with 7 rounds left in the magazine, and he is all on his lonesome. Seekers are out. Trailblazer as well, so some extra information as Dapper gets the reload. Dicey plays the high ground and closes us out for 11 for FaZe.
I mean, and I said it right. It was such a good read from FaZe. You know there's going to be a null command available from the side of G2, and then you have 4 players just outside of A side ready to go for that sense hit, and it works perfectly for them. There's a good amount of trades, but they end up over and over again coming up on top, right? So many of these rounds, if not every single round, we've seen only 2 players alive towards the end, but it's FaZe the one who's closing it out, and that is what matters the most. They can get to 12 here on Fracture, because again, as the Stinger's coming through, and that's scary.
Quick aggression, and you mentioned this earlier, is probably gets away from G2 as
so
Baby Bay from downtown is finding these kills. You mentioned this earlier in this, the changes that FaZe have made. Baby Bay just trolling. He's been tagged by the cam. He's not taking it out. They're corralled, caged here even. As Dicey tries to jump up, fails the first. The backstab, swift. The round even swifter. But the control on the map, right? We didn't see a whole lot of this from G2. The most that we saw was Oxy kind of packing onto that box outside B main, even in their retakes, right? Every time G2 was on a retake towards any of these sites, they were just working through spawns. So, just doing a good job, and I think that is one of the keys to victory on Fracture is playing the entirety of the map. And
Especially the north part of the map, right? And Baby Bay has done it constantly when he was flanking, when he was playing for that retake. Now having this ultimate is just those little surprises that add into the pressure that G2 has to try to come back. And now it just looks so difficult for them, crucial round for them to get a streak going. Potentially having Oxy getting that showstopper, but it hasn't gotten too much results for them so far.
And from round 1 to now round 18, the aggression doesn't end. Confirmation on some information as Oxy still plays out towards the spawn. The Trailblazer confirms that. The fault line, however, didn't quite land on the stun. So Oxy survives, as do the players of FaZe, as we go back to the drawing board. And G2 are getting their feet wet, walking through the sewers here.
In the meantime, Dapper has been trying to get that information, has been trying to play for this camera, but it gets shot down every time. It's the other side for Dicey actually holding and pushing now with the rest of the team.
Smokes are down, good 0 point. That's going to turn off Dicey's ability, so no trap wires to worry about. And the site's been taken. Okay, half the battle here for G2 as they get the spike planted, but now the chase, we'll see how potent, and they're ready for the players now playing around the map. Oh, it's Oxy, the first to fall. I thought he'd get the jump on Baby Bay. Unfortunately, not the case. And now, how much is there to worry about, right? Who's coming from spawn? Who's coming from these other angles? Dicey is the player from spawn. Headshot there. Information and confirmation once more. Flash up. And this should be the round. We'll see if G2 is Dapper going to get spammed again. Aftershock behind. Out comes the orbital strike to try and delay. But unfortunately, doesn't think that's going to be enough. Spike's halfway. And we have gone the distance here on Fracture. 13-5 is where we finish FaZe with an incredible start.